this video, we'll be looking at backgrounds in LeadsHook. So first thing, let's just quickly go through the preview again, and you'll see that in the last video I changed the theme. So what I'm going to do now is revert back to a theme to give it a plain background so that we can see what's happening. So I'm just going to default, save, and if I just refresh that again, you'll see that the background has been removed. Okay, so let's go to under appearance. We will be going to the, I think it's the typography. No, sorry, the general. Right, so these are the three backgrounds. I'm going to go ahead and just change one of the colors. I'm going to make it red. Press save, and you'll see that the background goes red. Okay, so that's the setting for under appearance when you have under the body, the body background. I'm going to do the container background. I'm going to make that kind of like a blue color. I think that's a blue. Let's make it. There you go. I'm just going to save that, and I'm going to go ahead and refresh that. This red color, I had to check for a second, is that the transparency has been set at 0. So I'm going to increase the transparency. Not a bad situation to have that problem. So now if you refresh that, you'll see that's the color that we've just set up here, which is just refresh that, which is the container color. Okay, so you can see the background or the body is right over here. That's the container, and then we have one more, which is the panel. So we'll change the panel color to this orange color, and you won't be able to see the panel color in this example because we don't have any panel settings here. So even here we won't see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what the panel color looks like. And the panel color is basically the text editor portion of it. So I'm just going to quickly just type some dummy text here. Go ahead and save that. If I refresh this now, you'll be able to see the panel color come through, which is that bit there. Okay, so that's just to show you the three colors that exist, which is sitting under appearance, under general, and probably should change that name to backgrounds. Probably get that changed. And that's the body, container, and panel. And so that's the body, container, and panel. Now if we move over to the embedded version, which is this one here, just going to go ahead and refresh this. Now that's the background that I've added on this page here. Okay, so that's not the background that LeadsHook is putting through. This is the LeadsHook portion only. So you can see the red and the blue coming through. So if you just have a look here, that's the red, blue, and if I go to the next page, I'll be able to see the orange. Right, so that's how it pops up on the embedded page. Now the question is, how do you make the transparency come through? So what I'm going to do now is show you how to do that, which I'm just going to make it fully transparent so the color actually doesn't come through. Let's go ahead and save that. So if I just do that, we'll be able to see that that background's gone back to white again, because though it's red, the transparency is at 0, which means none of the color is shown. So if I go ahead and refresh this now, you'll see that that's become transparent, and as a result you'll be able to see more of the underlying background come through into this decision tree here. So because we've set the transparency to 0 of the container. So let's go ahead and make one more change, and this time I'm going to make the transparency of the container section all the way to 0. So that was the blue section right over here. I'm going to make that fully transparent. Go ahead and save that, and let's refresh it, and you'll see that it's all transparent here. Now if I go over to the embedded version, you'll be able to see that it is gone. So your decision tree now is almost as if it's floating on top of the background of the underlying page. Now, of course, we have still got the orange version here, so let's go ahead and adjust that. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is so that you can go ahead and make the changes as you like them, and we give you all the flexibility in the world to be able to do that. So I'm just going to bring that back to 0 right over here, and so refresh that. Go to the next page, and you can see that it's all transparent. If I go back and refresh this page, I'll be able to see that the background of the underlying page comes through to all the throughout the entire decision tree. Right, so it's almost as if it's the background of the LeadsHook now is actually is well, it's there, but it's fully transparent. So the background of the underlying page is coming through. Right, so I hope that kind of gives you a good overview of how the backgrounds work. Now let's have a look at the background settings in a little bit more detail, because there's one scenario that I do want to show you. And that is the image options. Okay, so we have the image options right over here. So I'm going to go ahead and just select that mountain image, which is this one here, and I'm just going to go through and go select and save, and let's go ahead and see that. Now, because of transparency, so there you go, that's the full background image which I've set through on right over here. Which is right over here. Okay, now similarly, I'm gonna, so that way you'll be able to see the full background come through. And now what does this look like in an embedded version? Okay, so you know what's going to happen. It's going to show that background only just at this section here. Right, so that's where the background. Now you may want to have that kind of a background. So let's say if this background is a plain color, you may want to show mountain, or vice versa. You could show mountains over there and a plain color over here. But just to show you that when you add a full background inside LeadsHook, if it's embedded, it's only going to show through in the container that LeadsHook controls. It won't be showing outside that. Now there's a way to show that fully, and I'm going to share that with you next. I'm just going to pause the video so I can grab the CSS code. All right, now let's go through and see how we can make this sort of a background image come through on the entire page inside a LeadsHook. So if you have a look here inside your embedded page, actually, so if you have a look, the domain's been changed, and now instead of seeing a background image, we're seeing the whole image come through. So the entire direct link version is showing up on the site here. So in this case, the image from LeadsHook is coming through. So how do you do that? And I'm just going to show you that now. Right, it requires a little bit of code. So first, at the code level, because last time we just embedded the decision tree, well, you have to put a little bit of code, which basically shows it's for the viewpoint height. It's 100%. What it does, it expands the LeadsHook's container. So previously, while we only showed this portion, now we're saying remove that the container width and make the whole thing fully wide. It's basically what we're doing here. It was expanding the background image, the whole thing. So a little bit of code, but you got to put minimum height colon 100 VH is what you're doing, and you're going to put that right in that spot there. So if I just go ahead and copy and paste that, then that's exactly where it's going to sit. Okay, so that's just a little bit of code that you need to put into the embed code that tells the embed code to expand how much to show. The next thing you'll need to do, now this is in Divi, so whatever builder you're using or whatever landing page system you're using, you're gonna have to do something similar to that. This is fine. You can add that definitely inside LeadsHook. That'll work. But the other bits which are relate to the adding of little bit of the CSS, which is telling the underlying page what to do. You'll have to sort of speak to the developers of that system or platform, or speak to your developers on how to make that work. Right, so that's at the code level. On the row, you do something similar, where what we're going to do is we're going to go to no, we didn't add any CSS there. Is the spacing. They've all been turned to 0 to give it maximum amount of space. And also, and the last thing to change is in the section part. We want to increase the spacing there as well. So the width is 100%. The spacing has been brought to 0. And in this one here as well, I think I forgot to mention that, is in this, not spacing, in this sizing, you want to make sure the width is 100%. Right, so both of those 100% width, and a little bit of CSS at the code level. Now what that's going to do is going to add the entire background from LeadsHook onto your page. In this case, now this is compliant and fully good to run. We've got the top nav here, we've got the bottom nav here. Of course, this bottom nav is not compliant because I'm just using the default WordPress one. What you can do is you can put your privacy policy, terms of use, earnings disclaimer, cookie policy, any other policies you have at the bottom, and that would make this page reasonably compliant. You can have the top nav bar or not. The top nav bar and the bottom footer is coming from the underlying page. That's not LeadsHook. LeadsHook is only projecting, is only bringing in, showing this part here, and then the underlying page has been added with the top navigation bar and the footer. Now, if you wanted to remove both of those options or to control any of that, that's pretty simple. All you do is you go to Edit Page. I'm just gonna discard and exit. Is under the page templates. That this is in for Divi. That's how it would work, or in WordPress. Sorry, that's how it would work. You'll have to check how that works in yours, in the platform you're using. So I'm just going to go to page template and go to blank page. If I go to blank page and go update, now if I go ahead and refresh this, the top nav will be gone, and the bottom footer is gone as well. So for example, if you were doing just an offer or a decision tree with just the redirects to offers, and you're doing email traffic only, where a top navigation bar or a bottom footer is not needed, or you don't want to add it in, then by all means you can go ahead and just do that. But if you're running it from paid traffic, where you need to show compliance with privacy policy and those sort of things, then I suggest you don't use the blank page and use the default template in this case, or any other template that you designed for WordPress. That's a WordPress concern. And just refresh the page and you'll see the top nav bar and the bottom navigation bar. Right, so I hope that's kind of given you a good overview about how to control the backgrounds and what to display inside your own site. So we've looked at a few things here. I'm just going to summarize now, where you can have the LeadsHook background come through on your page. That's the first way to do it. The second way to do it is to add the background to your underlying page and only show the LeadsHook decision tree. We've had a look at that as well. And any combination thereof in terms of changing of the colors and changing of the size. Right, so a little bit of CSS hack to get this thing going, but this works perfectly. I'll just go show this to you. That's how that works. Now, the one thing I haven't shown here in this one, which I'll do, is I'll go back to themes. I'm just going to pick the basic one and just press save. And now if I refresh this, so we saw themes in the first video. I'm just going to share with you what we're doing here is, so there you go. You've got yourself a pretty nice looking decision tree with only a handful of changes, which is basically adding of the background under appearance. So going under general and adding in a background over here, and secondly just going and changing the theme. So with pretty much 2 changes, you can make your decision tree look pretty nice with just a few short changes. But I wanted to cover the various aspects of backgrounds in case you wanted to come up with a variation that I haven't, or you wanted to customize it to something that is not as simple as something like this, where you want to change all kinds of colors over all of the place, which is why I wanted to share the complete video on how to go around working with backgrounds. And I hope that will help you to and cater to whatever needs you have. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.